Good evening. If you haven't already got your props together, go ahead and grab a couple towels or a few yoga blocks. 2 yoga blocks or even one, or a towel and a yoga block. You'll also want a bed pillow or some sort of cushion for later in the class. And welcome from wherever you're tuning in. Tonight we're going to focus on the throat chakra, the element of ether, and this opening of the shoulders and the neck. So wherever you are, make sure you have your props handy, get yourself some water, and we're going to find our way into a child's pose. We're going to take child's pose with the legs together. Sometimes we take the knees wide and the feet together. Tonight we're gonna just untuck the feet, bring ourselves back onto the heels, and then just extend your arms forward and let your head come to the mat. If your head doesn't come quite all the way to the mat, use your yoga block or use a towel. And just start to settle in here in this child's pose. Feeling the ground beneath you, tuning into the breath. This is the last of the series on the 5 elements. So we've worked our way up from the root to the throat. And as you're settling in here in this child's pose, just go ahead and bring your breath awareness all the way down to the tailbone, all the way down to the base of the spine. And just breathe in that element of earth, that grounding element of earth. And then take a full breath in to that area of the sacrum, right above the root. Here we have the water element. And just breathe in and bring your awareness from the root up to that sacral chakra. That element and energy of water. And then continue breathing your awareness up the central channel, bringing your awareness into the belly, the solar plexus, where we've explored the element of fire. Just take a big breath into the belly, breathing in that fire element. And then let your awareness keep coming up through the central channel into the heart, where we've explored the element of air. Let yourself take a big breath into the area of the heart, breathing in that element of air. And then let your attention rise up into the area of the neck and the throat. Here tonight we're going to explore the element of ether or space. And just let your attention be on that central channel, breathing up from the root up to the throat, and then letting that energy and awareness go all the way back down to the root. Often in Western thinking and Western culture, we talk about space as being empty, but in other traditions, space is filled, ether is filled. It's filled with the element of sound, vibration, just like that vibration that we make when we talk or sing. Go ahead and find 3 more big, deep breaths here. Just letting your awareness settle into that central channel of the body. Letting yourself arrive for the next 75 minutes. And then go ahead and start walking your hands back up under the shoulders. Draw yourself up and come to find a comfortable seat. So you might want to prop your hips up onto a cushion. That's going to let the knees come closer down to the mat. And the pelvis tilt a little forward. If the knees are quite high up and not on the floor, see if you can find something. Use one of your towels or blocks to hold and prop the knees up. And keep your attention on that central channel. Just take a few breaths here with your awareness all the way from the root up to the throat as the breath comes in and out of the nose. So keeping the breath coming in and out of the nasal passages. Just let yourself become aware of where you're touching the earth, of the crown rising up. Good evening and welcome, wherever you're tuning in from. We're going to start with opening the neck here. So just go ahead and draw your right ear to your right shoulder. And then let the chin slowly and gently come towards the chest. Rolling the left ear towards the left shoulder. And then letting the head roll back behind. And then the next time the chin comes towards the chest, just pause there and gently change the direction. We're going to open up and find space here in the area of the throat chakra to release the neck and shoulders so that we can use our voice. The next time the chin is towards the chest, just gently roll the spine back up. We'll take a few pranic bath, rounds of pranic bath here. So bring your forearms together, elbows together, palms up. And as if you're scooping something up, just rolling it over you. Keep the elbows together as long as you can. And then as they start to come apart, keep the backs of the hands together. Stretch all the way up. Keep the fingers bright as you come back around and then right back where you started. Scooping up that prana, pouring it over you, letting the backs of the hands roll together and then reach up high, stretch the body out and back where you started. Go ahead and find a few more on your own here. Really activating the hands. Keeping the fingers bright. Go ahead and find one more. Stretching all the way up and then back down to where we started. Take the right fingertips out onto the mat. Let the left hand float up and over to the right ear. Take a full breath in. And then without pulling at the neck, just let the head start to move towards the left and let the weight of the arm take you a little further. Keep the fingertips on the mat to opening up through these scalenes in the neck. Take another full breath in and a full breath out. And then we're going to start to look towards the left leg and walk the hand to the back of the occipital ridge. Keeping those fingertips on the mat, letting the weight of the arm take the head over, so not pulling at the head or the neck. And one more full breath in and a full breath out, and then you can release the hold on the head, let the chin come towards the chest. Take a full breath in And then roll all the way up back to where you started. Let the right arm come up over. So take a big stretch first, get your fingers nice and bright, and then bend the elbow, bring it to the opposite ear, and then just gently, letting the weight of the arm gently draw the neck open. The more you can keep the fingertips of the left hand on the mat and even walking away from you, the more of an open you're going to get here. Go ahead and take one more full breath in. And then we're going to look towards the right leg, walk the hand behind the head to the occipital ridge. Opening up in the back of the neck a little bit. Find another full breath in and a full breath out. And then you can release the hand, let the chin come towards the chest, take a full breath in, and then roll yourself all the way back up. So we've been working with the meridians of the body in Chinese medicine, and we're going to especially work tonight with this point of lung 1, the beginning of the lung meridian. So if you can just bring your fingertips, doesn't matter which side you start on, find this area between the collarbone. You're going to find a little fleshy spot between this intersection of bones. So you're between the collarbone and the joint of the shoulder. And just gently press into that. We just want to find it here. We're going to come back to it later. Take a full breath in and notice as you exhale, maybe you can get your fingers in there a little bit more. Acupressure isn't so much about giving pressure to the body as allowing the body to open up and through sensing the energy. So you don't even need to press hard here. You can just let the hand lean into it, and you'll find that the body starts to melt a little bit like butter. Take one more full breath in, pressing into this lung point. This points to help the shoulders, and it's also a point where we stimulate to help grief release. And then we're just going to swipe down the tops of the arms, out the fingertips, and draw energy back up the inside of the arms. And we'll just do that whichever side you're on. Just go ahead and take a few. So out the top, on the top of the arm is the yang side of the body, just releasing there and then drawing up some of that gentle yin energy for the practice. And then we'll take that same thing on the other side. So whichever arm you're on, just let the arm relax, fingertips to the mat or even on the thigh. And then bring the fingertips of the opposite arm and just gently poke around. Find this spot where the top of the clavicle and the joint of the arm are, and you'll find a little fleshy valley there. And just hold it for a minute. Breathing in. And letting your sorrows and the weight of the world that you've been carrying on your shoulders start to melt away. Go ahead and find a few more breaths here. And then from that first lung point, we're just going to take our hand down the top of the arm, the yang side of the body, and then draw up the yin on the inside of the arm back to that point. Go ahead and do that 2 more times. So we'll come back to this point, this lung point. You can go ahead and just give yourself a little rotation there, a little massage. And then interlace your fingers in a really loose, loosely fisted, loosely intertwined, and just start at the sternum. And we're just going to tap right under the clavicle here, just across the chest. So we call this class Undo and Renew. So we're just going to tap out some things that we can undo here. So there's some space to renew. And then go ahead and find your way back to the sternum. Give yourself a few taps here. and then release down, and we're gonna roll forward into a tabletop. So with your hands right underneath the shoulders, go ahead and take a few cat and cow here just to loosen up the back. And then we're gonna work tonight with lion's breath. So in lion's breath, we just exhale and release the tongue out of the mouth. So here in your tabletop, go ahead and find your way back to neutral. Take a full breath in, exhale into your cat. Release the neck and the head down to the mat. And then inhale into cow and release with lion's breath. Take a full breath in and then exhale back into cat. Inhale back forward into cow, take a full breath, and then exhale in lion's breath. Take another full breath in, and then exhale into cat. And with your own breath here, go ahead and take 3 more rounds. So exhaling in cow, taking another full breath in cow, and then exhaling in cat, really pushing into the organs. Inhaling into cow, really opening up the throat, letting the lion's breath out. And then inhaling one more time and finding your way back to cat. And then when you finish your round of lion's breath, go ahead and just come back into your neutral tabletop, and we're just gonna sway from side to side. So see if you can sway to look back at the opposite foot. I guess up the same foot on the same side. Or maybe you can see the opposite foot. Opening up through the side body. And then back to central, back to neutral. And we're gonna take a little flow here. So take a full breath in, untuck the toes. Take your cat, exhaling all the air out. Push yourself back into child's pose. Release all the stale air. As you inhale, come forward back into cow. And then exhale your lion's breath. Take another flow. Take another breath in, untuck the toes. Exhale into cat. Press yourself back into child's pose. Inhale forward into cow, and then exhale lion's breath. Go ahead and find 3 more like that. Untucking the toes, pressing from cat back into child's pose. Inhaling forward into cow, tucking the toes, and then releasing your lion's breath. Taking an extra breath there with the back arch. And then moving with that flow to press out all the stale air in child's pose from cat. To move back forward into cow. Taking an extra breath at the top. Go ahead and find 1 more round. Exhaling into cat, pressing into child's pose, really staying in child's pose to press out all the stale air before coming forward on the inhale and releasing lion's breath. Go ahead and find your way back to sit on your heels, finding hero's pose. And we're gonna take your block or your towel into Shavasana with the block or towels between the shoulder blades. So it's going to be a supported fish pose. I'll show you a couple of options. Perhaps you're using a stack of towels. Perhaps you have a block. I recommend starting with 1 block and just rolling onto the back. Start with your feet in bridge prep pose and then roll back with the block between the shoulder blades. open up the arms to the side. Now, if you're quite flexible and that's not enough for you, you're welcome to bring one block on the medium level and one block on the low level. Wherever you're at, make sure the head is supported. So don't take 5 towels stacked and let your head hang. So you're either with the block on the medium setting and the head supported with a towel or a block underneath it. Arms are out to the side to start. Or perhaps you're on the low setting. And if your legs are still in the bridge prep, go ahead and release the legs wide on the mat in Shavasana. And just settle in here for a moment into this fish pose. Allowing the front of the throat to open. So we want the crown of the head supported by either the floor or the block so that we can allow the neck and shoulders to release. Make sure you're comfortable. We're going to be here for a few minutes. In our first extended yin pose of the evening. So I mentioned earlier there's this idea of space in yogic philosophy that space isn't empty. It's not empty. The ether is filled with vibration. And when we talk about the throat chakra, we really want to come to the acknowledgement that our words create our reality. What we do with the voice, what we put out there with the voice, sort of frames what reality we're living in. These thoughts rise up from the heart, and how we've discerned it in the heart is going to be how we release it with our voice. If you're quite comfortable here in your supported fish, go ahead and take the arms from being extended on either side and bend the elbows so you're in cactus. This will open you up a little bit more here in the front of the shoulders, along those lung points that we were gently massaging earlier. And there's this idea in many religious and spiritual traditions, even scientific ones, that the whole universe started with a sound. So we have the sound of the bang in the Big Bang. In Vedic tradition, it's the sound of the Om, which started creation. And even in Christian tradition, we have the Word of God announcing, "Let there be light." So this idea of sound and vibration traveling through space is quite profound. Science is more and more saying that everything is a vibration. So just allow the space in the shoulders and neck to open up so that your sound can travel freely. The sound that you make as it rises up from the heart into the throat. You're going to be in this pose for another minute. If you're too tight with arms and cactus, you always have the option of just extending the arms out to the side. See if you can stay with it for about 7 more breaths. Always in these yin poses, we're allowing gravity to do the work. Just allow yourself to let the shoulders relax down. Let gravity do the work. Go ahead and find another full breath in and a full breath out. And then gently bend the knees, coming back into your bridge prep. And you can either use the arms to come up, or you can take the arms all the way overhead and roll to the side. Just pressing up to remove the block and come back down into your bridge prep. We're gonna take pelvic tilts with the breath. If you've taken one of my classes before, you may have done this before. So you can go ahead and start with your own breath. If not, just follow my cues. If you haven't done this at all, go ahead and bring your hand to the small of the back. And then on your exhale, just like you did in cat, you're going to draw the belly button towards the spine and flatten the back on the mat. And you can feel that with your hand. Once you've felt it, go ahead and remove the hands to the side. Take a full breath in. That's all we're going to do here is exhale, draw the belly button towards the spine, press into the mat, exhaling all the stale air, and on an inhale, let the pelvis tilt towards the feet, and there is that natural curve in the back. So you're working here with your own breath, exhale, making a little space in the between the vertebra, and then inhale, having a natural arch in the back. If you're quite expert at this, you can start to engage Mula Bandha. You can start to draw up the root lock, drawing up the pelvis, the pelvic floor as you exhale, and then inhaling, releasing the feet, releasing the pelvis to tilt towards the feet rather. So go ahead and take a few more rounds here. Either engaging Mula Bandha or just allowing the breath to move the pelvis. Creating that little pump in the sacrum that's going to allow the fluid and the spinal cord to come all the way up around the cranium. Go ahead and find one more. And then on your exhale, just allow the body to have a natural curve in the back. Bring the hands to the belly for just a moment and take notice of what's going on inside the body. Maybe you have some sensation, some vibration, just notice. And then go ahead and extend the legs long. Draw the arm bones up alongside the ears. We're going to come into a banana or a crescent here. So walk both feet out to the edge, the right edge of the mat. Lift the left foot and place the left heel over the right. So you have a little lock there. And then draw the arms over to the right. Clasp on to the left wrist. Draw yourself over just a little bit, but not so much that the hips come off the floor. So we want both sides of the pelvis on the floor. And then just place one palm inside the other. Once you find your banana or your crescent, just relax into it and notice how the breath is taking you deeper. So we're creating space alongside the left chain of the body here and just working with the breath. And at any time in this pose, if you'd like to release with a lion's breath, allow yourself that. Allow yourself to just clear the pipes and just release with that little bit extra of an exhale, drawing the tongue outside of the mouth. Go ahead and see if you can find 5 more breaths here. When you finish that 5th breath, go ahead and walk everything back to center. It's nice to draw the knees in, rock a little side to side. And then go ahead and release the feet down. Walk everything over to the left. So left feet first. Put the right ankle over the left and then walk both hands out to the right. Clasp the right wrist, draw yourself over, and then relax into the pose, placing one palm inside the other. And with your own time, if you'd like to release with a lion's breath, allow yourself that. And expanding the breath, letting there be space between each rib as you extend your inhalations and your exhalations. Go ahead and find a few more breaths here. Each inhalation, letting there be space along the chain of the right side of the body. With each exhalation, just noticing the ground underneath you. And then go ahead and unlock the feet. Walk the feet back to center. Take that full body stretch. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Rock a little side to side. And then bring the fingertips to the shins, and we're just going to roll up and down the back. So giving yourself a nice little back massage here. And then take a moment, if you haven't started the playlist already and you'd like a playlist, you're welcome to start that now. Take a sip of water, and then we're going to make our way back into our tabletop. So we want to keep the tissues quite hydrated during this practice. That's going to help us release in the fascia. So take a sip of water, start your music, and then we're going to go back to swaying the body here in our tabletop. Just rocking the hips gently side to side. And then taking either a block or a towel for your head, We're gonna make our way into shoulder stretch. Your arms, you're gonna be on your belly and your arms are gonna be out on either side. I'll talk you through it. And remember, you just wanna go as far as you can go and let the body unwind. So try not to push into the pose. So you can place both arms on either side and then look to the left. And we're gonna walk our fingertips. The head is supported, right cheek is on the mat. We're gonna walk our fingertips out and just roll onto the right side body. Now this might be plenty for you, or perhaps you can kickstand the left leg and use the left leg and the left hand to take you a little deeper. And then we're gonna take the left hand and find that lung point again on the right side. So just gently bringing the left hand into that soft tissue. And you don't need to poke too much. You can just gently, even just let it be by touch. So the body has some attention there. And then just settle in. So wherever you're at, if both legs are extended, if one leg is kickstand, either in front of or even perhaps behind the right leg, you can use the leg to control how far you'll go into the pose. Just letting it gently open up. The longer you're able to have your left hand on that right lung point, you might start to feel a little energetic pulsing there. So that's just a sign that that's starting to open up. Perhaps you find along with that your body wants to go deeper into the pose. Just allow it to soften. Taking just a few more breaths on this side. And then go ahead and release your hand from holding the lung point. Bring it out on either side of you. And go ahead and release the kickstand and roll back onto the belly. You can move the block to place the forehead on it and just rock the hips a little side to side. And then we'll turn to have the left cheek or the left side of the forehead on the block. Walk the left fingertips out as you roll onto the left side of the body. Bringing that right leg up, either in a kickstand or maybe the legs are just stacked. And once you find the opening in the shoulder and you feel pretty comfortable here, you can bring that right hand into the lung point on the left side. So again, with acupressure, you don't have to poke in there too much. You can just, by touch, the body will sense the energy of your hands and start to release and unwind. Perhaps you feel some movement where you want to go deeper into the pose. Perhaps you feel some tension where you need to come a little bit less, release out of the pose a little bit. We don't want to go all the way to the edge. We want to go about 70%. But do start to notice if you feel any pulsing or movement under your fingertips. Just notice how the body is opening up gently and slowly. And see if you can find 3 to 5 more breaths here. And then releasing the right hand from the point on the shoulder, extending the legs, rolling yourself back onto the belly, and just rock the hips a little side to side. We'll press up into our tabletop once again, and just taking some hip circles this time. Or if swaying feels nicer, go ahead and take that. If you're taking hip circles, make sure you take them in both directions. And then cross the feet at the ankles. We'll come to sit back. Finding our sits bones underneath us, you can remove the fleshy bits. And go ahead and extend the left leg out. Lift the right leg, and we'll start by just gently moving the right leg in the hip socket. So just gently moving it a little side to side. Perhaps you can reach around and interlace the fingers, cradling the leg. And then we're going to bring that right knee onto the left knee. So just placing it here. For most people, this will be enough, but for some of you, you might like to stack the knees, both knees underneath you by bending the left leg in. So find your position, either in shoelace with the left leg extended, or perhaps both knees bent. And then we're going to come into a seated seated eagle. You might want your bed cushion here. So depending on your mobility, we're going to take both arms out to the side and then swoop the right arm underneath the left, bend the elbows, and bring the palms together. So here you have eagle arms. And with your knees either stacked and the left leg long or the left leg bent underneath you, you're going to raise the elbows up towards the chin and then lean forward. So if you can lean forward to hook the elbows over the knees, then you can just tuck your forehead into the crook of the elbows. And you'll find your position there. If this doesn't feel quite available, perhaps you have one leg out and eagle arms, you can bring your cushion onto the lap and then draw the elbows forward and bring your forehead into the crook of the elbows. So whichever pose, whichever version of the pose is suiting your body, go ahead and find that. And see if you can release the head to really open up the back of the neck, the back of the cervical spine, and give the weight of the head to the elbows. The arms are locked there. They can take the weight of the head. The more you can release into the arms, you're gonna get more of a release on the back side of the shoulders and the neck. And keep expanding the breath. So whichever version of the pose you're in, the deeper your breath is, the more you'll get out of it. Go ahead and see if you can find 5 more breaths here. And then bring yourself up gently. Release the arms. Flap your eagle wings for a moment and then release the legs. Bring the feet onto the floor in front of you and just let both knees drop to one side and then the other. And then go ahead and extend the right leg long. Lift that left leg up. So you can start with the leg just on the forearms. And then perhaps if you have the mobility, you can draw the foot into the crook of the elbow and release the hands around the whole lower leg and just give it a little rock. And then we're going to start to move that knee that you're holding onto the leg that's extended. So you know now if you want the legs tucked into the leg left long, go ahead and stack the left knee over the right. And then extend the arms, and we're going to swoop the left arm underneath the right, bend the elbows, draw the palms together. And then lift the elbows towards the chin. Lean forward. See if you can bring the elbows over the crook of the knee. That's going to be a little lock there. And then you can release the forehead into the crook of the elbows. Allowing the head and neck to release into the crook of the elbows with each exhalation. I'll show it from the side view if you're not quite sure. And I'm working with this energy of the throat chakra, Visshudha chakra. we're allowing that energy of the heart to rise up into the throat. So that's why we're working on opening this area actually between the heart and the throat. So with each exhalation, see if there's anything else that you can release. Be held there. And then just see if you can find 5 more breaths. On an inhale, drawing yourself back up, releasing the arms to either side, flap your wings, and then take the feet onto the floor in front of you and just drop the knees from one side to the other. And then go ahead and move back towards your tabletop. Once again, taking the movement that feels nice for you. So either circling the hips around, just gonna move the fluids through the body. And then walk the knees towards one another, flex the toes. We're gonna sit back on the heels for a moment, and we're gonna come into a rabbit pose here. So you might wanna have a block handy. Bring your feet to the heels, and then we're just gonna draw the belly onto the thighs and the head onto the mat. On the mat, you wanna have that area between the forehead and the hairline, not the crown of the head, because we're gonna start to move. So start with the hairline of the mat, and then we're gonna start to lift the pelvis. Keeping this tension between the arms and the feet. So the weight is not on the head. The arms are taking the weight of the head. Your head is touching the mat, but you're not pressing into the head. You're keeping the unit of tensegrity by keeping a hold of the feet and allowing the head to come down as the spine creates more space. I'm not going to be here for so long, but go ahead and see if you can find 7 to 10 more breaths here. So keeping this tension, this hold of the feet, shoulders and shoulder blades away from the ears. Three more breaths. And then you can draw the hips back towards the heels, release the hands, untuck the toes, come back into your tabletop, and then just gently tap the feet out. Take any movement or sway that feels nice here. And then we're going to come into our flying dragon. So go ahead and lift the right knee. Make a big circle with the knee just to move some of that fluid around the joint. And then go ahead and step the right knee forward. Walk the knee out to the right edge of the mat, perhaps even off the right edge of the mat. And then you're going to bring your left elbow down. Perhaps you need a block. Perhaps you can bring your arm all the way down. And then go ahead and just gently press the right leg open just a little bit. And then we're going to start to just look up towards the sky. So you might be with your elbow on a block. You might be with your left hand just on the mat. Just gently opening up here. See if you can find 5 more breaths here. Then you can release the right hand from the leg. Bring both hands onto the mat. Walk yourself back into that tabletop. Take some movement. And then we'll do the same thing the other side. So lifting the left knee, make a circle with the knee. Take the circle in the opposite direction and then step the left foot forward. Walk it to the outside edge of the mat so the hands are inside the left foot. And then you can start with your right arm on the mat. Perhaps you can bring your right arm to the block, perhaps all the way to the floor. And then just gently, very gently, opening the left leg. And once you find your opening from the root, we're just twisting around to gently look. I said the ceiling, but it might be more looking where the wall and the ceiling meet. And keep, as you're drawing that left palm into the left leg, keep drawing that left shoulder away from the ear. And just a few more breaths here. And wherever you're at, releasing the left palm back down to the mat and walking yourself back into your tabletop. Take a few juicy movements here, swaying or circling the hips, and then find your way back to neutral. And we're going to take a few more rounds of that flow that we started with. So go ahead and untuck your toes as you take a full breath in. Exhale into your cat pose, and then press yourself back to child's pose. Expel all the stale air. Inhale, forward into cow. Exhale, lion's breath. Take a full breath in, untuck the toes, exhale into cat's pose, press back into child's pose. Let all the air be expelled from the body. And then inhale forward, tucking the toes on the way. Exhale, lion's breath. Take a full breath in, find your way to cat. Press yourself all the way back into child's pose. Expel all the stale air. Last one, inhale forward, lion's breath. And then go ahead and release the toes back into neutral and take any movement, swaying side to side. We're going to start to make our way back onto the mat on the back. So however you can get there. Have your block handy. And for this one, a towel won't substitute. So if you don't have a block, I mentioned putting a book, grabbing a book. If you have something hard that's not a foam block, then you'll want a towel or something to put over it. I'm going to show you just from the back. We're going to give ourselves a little massage along the occipital ridge. So that's this ridge of bone between the soft tissue of the neck and the skull. So you don't want to use something too hard here. So you might use a towel over a book, or if you're using, some people like cork blocks or wooden blocks, this might be a little hard, but you try it and see what you like. And then we're gonna just lay back, start with your legs in bridge, find your way there. So that edge of the block is on the occipital ridge and the chin comes towards the chest. Once you can find this, just gently rock your head from one side to the other. And then you can keep the feet in bridge prep, or you can extend the legs long. We're just going to take a few rounds here. I feel more balanced if my feet are stay in bridge, because you want to be able to sort of control how fast you're moving the neck. But you can try both ways, and then just gently. So you would want this to feel juicy like a massage. So if there's anything that feels crunchy about it, either put something softer on the block or the book you're using, or perhaps maybe reposition the block. So just very gently moving the head to look down the left arm and then across the body and down the right arm. And to really get into that occipital ridge, you're going to want to tuck the chin towards the chest. So you're just on the corner of the block. Go ahead and take a few more rounds. There's all sorts of acupressure points, acupuncture points along this ridge where the soft tissue of the neck and the skull meet. So just let this be a nice juicy massage. And then go ahead and finish one more each side, and then find your way back to center. Remove the block. Keep it handy. We're going to use it one more time, but we're going to take a little somatic release here. So the arms are going to be in cactus. I'll show you as if I'm laying down. You'll have the arms in cactus. We'll have the head turned towards one arm that we're going to move. And we're just going to glide that hand all the way up. The eyes will follow it. And then we're going to glide that arm along the floor. Eyes are still following it and bending it as much as you can. So it works with the inhale. To inhale, glide the arm up. Exhale, glide the arm back along the body. So starting with either side, go ahead and look to the side and watch that hand as you just glide it along the floor to the full extension, and then keep your eyes on it as you're moving it down and drawing the elbow towards the ribs. Just a gentle glide here. Keeping the eyes on the arm. Go ahead and find one more on this side that you're on. And then bring both hands back into cactus in the center. Turn the head towards the opposite arm, and then same thing, you're just gliding that arm along the floor, full extension, and then as you exhale, drawing the elbow towards you, towards the ribs, keeping your eyes moving with the arm, so you're watching it move. As the arm glides up, eyes follow. As the arm glides down, eyes follow. ahead and find one more here. And then release back into cactus. Draw both arms down alongside the body about 45 degrees. And we're going to do one more little somatic release for the neck. Just gently pick the head up and draw the head to look over to one shoulder, the other, and then press that temple into the mat. Find 5 breaths here. You might feel a release in another part of your body. And then inhale the head back to center. So rather than just rolling on the back of the head, you want to keep the spine in alignment. So just lift the head just a millimeter, enough to look over to the shoulder. And then press the head into the mat. Taking 5 breaths. One more breath, and then draw yourself back to center. And then with your block or towel handy, we're just going to take a double leg twist here. So we'll put the block between the legs, but first go ahead and lift the pelvis. Draw it over to the left side and then place it on the mat, and then lift both legs 90 degrees. Place the block or towel between there. That's going to help your hips stay aligned. Let the arms come out on either side of you. And then let both knees come towards the left. Bring the left hand behind the head. And then that's going to help you turn towards the right. So the legs are going the opposite direction as the head is looking, and the hand on the back of the head is just sort of helping hold it to get there. And then settling in here again. Letting gravity and the breath do all the work. Go ahead and find a few more breaths here. And then release the left arm out the side. Take a full breath in with both arms extended. Head is still looking towards the right. And then draw the knees back up to center. Take the block out for a moment. Reach the knees towards the chest, rock a little side to side. And then back to your bridge prep. This time we're going to lift the pelvis up, take it over to the left side. Bring the block between the legs. Let the legs come over to the right. You can even press into the arm bones to lift the shoulders a little bit so that to make sure that the left shoulder's not coming off the mat. And then bend the right elbow, place the right palm behind the head, and gently the head is going to want to start to unwind towards the left. Letting the breath and gravity do all the work. So if you can find 5 more breaths here. And then release the hand that's behind the head. Extend both arms up long and then just take a few breaths. And then gently bring the knees back towards the chest, rock a little side to side. We'll come into guided relaxation. So it's yogi's choice if you want to take a reclined position, a shavasana or a reclined butterfly with the pillow under the chest, under the back rather, lying on the back. Legs can be long or in butterfly in this, or you can take a more traditional shavasana with the bolster under the knees. If you're taking traditional shavasana with the back on the mat, walk the shoulder blades together a little bit, bring the chin towards the chest, let the legs be wide on the mat. Take a moment to build your nest to be most comfortable for you. And you can silently repeat to yourself as I guide you to relax the body. Breathing down into the root. Finding your element of earth here at the base of the spine. Exhaling out, feeling the support of the earth. Inhaling down into the sacral chakra. Feeling the fluidity of the body. Acknowledging to yourself this element of water and flow within you. Breathing into the belly, feeling the fire of the belly, acknowledging this fire and heat that drives you. Breathing into the heart, feeling the expansiveness in the heart, acknowledging this element of air that nourishes you. Breathing into the throat, feeling the openness and connection between the heart and the throat. that allows the sound and the vibrations to be in alignment with your highest self. Remaining in the nowness. Allow the mind to connect in the nowness to the central channel. People who accomplish staying in the nowness are able to let go altogether of their own logic, beliefs, and ways of doing things. They overcome the boundary between themselves and the world and identify fully with other people and with earth, the weather, the forest, the sky, the elements. People who can stay in the nowness join the vast, unbounded space. The practicality of earth by becoming one with the elements. Earth, water, fire, and wind. These warriors are able to perform all actions effortlessly and elegantly. Their actions support like earth, they bind like water, nourish and promote like fire, and refresh and cause circulation like the wind. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Stay connected to that central channel of energy, breathing all the way down from the root to the sacrum, to the belly, to the heart. Letting the air come out the nostrils at the area of the throat. As you begin to become more and more aware of the breath in the body, you can begin to gently awaken the fingertips and the toes, perhaps fisting and extending the hands. Extending and flexing in the toes and the ankles. And since you're in your home, you're welcome to stay in this relaxed pose of either Shavasana or butterfly. If you are ready to awaken, you can inhale your hands up overhead, arm bones alongside the ears, taking a full body stretch and then rolling onto one side or the other. Gently coming up to find a comfortable seat. And once you're in that comfortable seat, just staying attuned to that central channel of energy, noticing if it feels a little bit more opened. If you can feel this connection from where you're sitting all the way into the throat and out the nose as you inhale in through the nose and exhale out the mouth. On an inhale, you can let the hands float up overhead into prayer. Take a full stretch there and then draw the hands back to heart center. Press the thumbs into the sternum. Bring the chin towards the chest. Just opening up the back of the neck for one more time today. Bowing to yourself, bowing to your practice of yoga. And then bringing the head back to neutral. James Earl Jones said that one of the hardest things in life is to have words that are in your heart that you cannot utter. May you continue through your week having an openness between your heart and your throat to be able to say what needs to be said, speaking your truth, creating your reality with kind words. Namaste.